Spirit Showdown kinda sucks. Here's why. Let me lock in. The premise is that you start as a random character in your role,
Ice Wolf.
and whenever you get elim or get eliminated twice, you're forced to swap.
What the fuck?
Now, on paper it sounds really fun, but in like execution, let's just say like
That shit's ass, bro.
the entire game loop is based on RNG, like in and out, every single aspect. It's not just an adaptability test, it's a knowledge test as well. If your tank player is unfamiliar with like whoever they get, everyone gets wiped out. Everyone gets wiped out. I mean, it's the same for every role, but you know, since tanks are like basically the deciding factor in most games, it feels unbearable. If you don't If you're not like a turbo sweat or a nerd who knows like the ins and outs of like at least most characters in your role,
You're probably dead.
it's not just that, but the gameplay loop in and of itself is really rough because it messes with your momentum. You don't feel this as much as DPS, but random swapping like will absolutely kill your momentum if you're a tank or your support. If you or the enemy team gets an elim, you gotta lock in. Because when you swap, you become basically invisible. You become this little glowing orb that's really easy to miss because you're playing Overwatch and it's a million things going on at once. Let me give you an example. If you're playing Brigitte and you need the proc Inspire, but the enemy downs someone in front of you and like phases through your whip shot, you're
Probably dead.
now, the swap isn't as noticeable if you're like DPS, because you can just go, I'm pretty good at this.
No, you ain't.
You could be putting in genuine work, especially as support, keeping your team up, but like, if you get an elim or an easy pick, the game's like,
Did I just catch you having fun?
you're mercy now, you're in mercy now. It's worse when you're keeping your DPS in basically life support, and that brief moment after you get an elim, even, you know, whether intentional or accidental, that small gap in being unable to heal, having to figure out who you're playing, how they heal, can basically mean life or death for them. It's like, if you don't think fast enough, you like actively play worse. I know tanks go through something very similar because every single tank is different. Like, you could be in the mosh pit as a reset, and then oh, you get an elim and now you're Sigma and you get absolutely mowed down because you're not supposed to be in that spot. The character swap is disorienting at the least and just infuriating at the most. And I know that's how it's meant to be. It's supposed to be chaotic, you know, everything's down the chance, but that includes how much fun you have playing. Speaking of chance, duplicates. The chances of a duplicate being on your team or an enemy team are low, but not zero. I've been on both sides having duplicates. Have you ever had to deal with two Mercies at once? Have you ever had to deal with two Mays at once? Yes, skill issue for the employed, whatever. It feels unfair being on either side because I feel like, oh, I'm just luckier than the other team, or I'm just unluckier than the other team. It feels like the fates decide how much fun you have in this mode. That's the worst part. The victories feel unearned. The losses feel unearned. A wise person once said, this game mode is fun, this match was not. And that sums it up perfectly. It's like gambling the game mode, having a familiar enough character pool up to fate, having your momentum completely torn away from you, dice roll. My advice to you, if you want to like somewhat enjoy this, just play DPS. Just play DPS, get the experience, and then run far away. Alright, that's it.